Hey, welcome to this episode of the Smart Leader Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert. And today I'm joined by the lovely Clare Josa, woo-woo, on the podcast.
Hello, Jess.
Welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. So I know Clare, obviously we met unknowingly for me really at Upreneur last year. So last November, a whole year ago. I feel like it's almost our friendversary or whatever Facebook calls it. So we met over at Upreneur, and then I went to and spoke at the lovely Helen Packham's event in the summer, and you are now in the Dotties, and it's just like this whole amalgamation of Clare Josa fun that has been chucked into my world that's really, really exciting. And you do all of the things. Over the last year, I've seen you take on massive campaigns around things like the VATMOS. I'm going to call it the debacle because it just frankly was. I've seen you take on major companies. I've seen you write and release new books like Celebrated Author Much. So tell everybody, who are you and what do you really spend your days doing?
So what gets me out of bed in the morning is helping passionate world changers to get out of their own way. And I specialize in working particularly with women, though a lot of men work with me because I used to be an engineer. When you think everything's going okay and actually you're fairly successful, and then those hidden blocks, the really deeply hidden blocks like imposter syndrome come out to play, and they suddenly derail us and they keep us stuck dreaming big but playing small. That's where I come in, and we do that Jenga game of pulling out the couple of bits that we're getting in the way so that everything else just falls into place and people can really step up to the next level on the difference they're making in the world.
Amazing. And it's one of those things that I see an awful lot, particularly of women. I don't see it as often in men who really do feel like this playing small is the root cause of the majority of their problems. I hear it an awful lot time and again. And for me, it's one of those things I hear, but people find it really difficult to do anything about.
There are a lot of sticky plasters out there because when you've got something running like imposter syndrome, the classic self-talk is, who am I to do this? Yeah, you find yourself self-sabotaging. You get called for a PR interview with a newspaper or a radio station and suddenly you pretend you're too busy and you convince yourself of that. When we're dealing with that, you can't think yourself out of a problem that your thoughts created. You have to go that level deeper. So I love working with people really at that core level, that who am I? When you shift the way you see yourself to line up with who you see you need to be to create that difference you're here to make, it falls into place. When there's a gap between those two, you've got imposter syndrome and everything feels like a struggle.
I love that. And I think that's really interesting because the bit there that you said about people turning down the interview and actually convincing themselves that they don't have enough time is really true, but a lot of people don't recognize it. They won't look at it and go, oh, that's me turning away opportunities, because their brain is telling them to keep them safe, to keep them, secure. You're not going to get rejected. You're not going to have anything difficult happen if you don't push yourself out of your comfort zone. A lot of people genuinely believe that. So it's a really interesting, I guess, brain comparison to actually start retraining your brain to look out for opportunities and see them as a good thing rather than being presented with opportunities and being like, oh my God, I can't possibly do that.
You see, this is why I'm not an advocate of feel the fear and do it anyway, because that is what makes you say no and justify it. When you've cleared out the triggers for the fears, then you don't even need to think about them anymore. And that thought process no longer needs to be managed. Yeah. And I still get imposter syndrome. Yet when I published Dare to Dream Bigger just about 2 years ago, I pressed delete on the final manuscript the night before it went to the printer. And I mean proper delete. I got rid of every single copy, even off the backup drive, because I had a hissy fit panic with imposter syndrome. Who am I to write this book? Yeah. So I'm walking my talk here. I'm not pretending that everything is great for me. When you stretch a big comfort zone, things like imposter syndrome can come back up. But walking my talk, by the next morning, I had found a backup copy. I dealt with that enormous fear that I'd pushed down all the way through writing the book that was saying, no, this book doesn't go to print till you've dealt with me. And now I'm really big, hairy, ugly, and scary.
And thank God for secret backup drives. I'm just going to throw that out there. Thank the Lord for secret backup drives that nobody can ever imagine digging up in the middle of the night.
Indeed.
So what are we here to talk about today? Because I'm really excited about your question. I know it's something that a lot of people struggle with, but I know that listeners are going to be like, right, what's going on with Clare? If she's dealing with imposter syndrome, what's the dealio?
So I absolutely love running courses, masterminds, writing books, all that kind of thing. What I don't love is I love telling people about them. I just don't love that bit that in my head I called selling. Okay. And I can create a beautiful sales page. I don't particularly enjoy it. Sometimes, like I did one this week, it was great fun because it helped me to design the course. But where I get totally stuck is talking about the benefits in a way that makes them so compelling that the perfect person for that, whatever it is, can say, yep, this is for me and I have to take action now. What I'm great at is writing about the features and pretending they're the benefits.
Yeah. Everyone's really good at that.
So my question for you, Jess, is there a formula or a method we can go through when we're creating something that we know can deliver whatever our transformation is, that turns our features into benefits that people get emotionally?
Yes. So the first thing to remember with anything like this is that the sales don't start at the sales page. So your benefits, you always want to extend them throughout the entirety of your sales messaging, with your email marketing, everything like that. And the majority of people are actually really good at putting benefits into everything other than their sales pages. Most people naturally are really, really great at being like, oh, I wrote this social media post. And I'm like, that's phenomenal. Look at all those benefits. And they're like, oh, yeah, right. The problem we have is that when we start writing sales pages, people look at a traditional sales page formula. So everyone's like, I've got to have a compelling headline. And then after the compelling headline, I've got to have a question. Does this feel like you? Are you this? And then after you have that, you go, yes, you are. You're a self-identifier of all of those negative things. Great. Don't worry. I can fix your problem. And here's how I'm going to do it. And when we say, here's how I'm going to do it, that naturally lends itself to features. Because as soon as we start talking about the how, we start talking about the process, we start talking about what we're going to use. Instead of turning it around and waiting out, and instead of jumping straight into, this is how I'm going to do it, we go, this is why.
Okay.
This is why we are going to work through this program, or this is why we're going to go through this coaching experience, or this is why this product is going to transform your life. And it's at that point that you start to think about benefits. Does that make sense? Because
it does.
You're shifting from the perspective of seller to buyer.
So that's such a simple shift in mindset that already gets my brain bubbling, and I've never heard it put that simply, Jess, which is why I knew I had to ask you this question. So this is why we're doing this.
Exactly. Because the buyer doesn't really care how it's done. I don't care, for example, how my car goes. I don't get up in the morning and get in it and go, I'm going to turn the ignition, I'm going to press the clutch, I'm going to put it into gear 1, then some cog's going to work, and then this is going to happen, this piston will fire, and the car will go. I get in, I'm like, great, what CD am I going to listen to today? Hit reverse, off I roll. And I'm not thinking about the internal workings of the car. And so when we're writing sales pages, we've got to take it away from the mechanics, because the customer doesn't care and they don't know enough about it to appreciate the mechanics. If someone was selling me a Ferrari, maybe I would care that the pistons were made out of titanium or something fancy. I drive a Suzuki. Therefore, if it goes, it's a win, right? We wake up and we're like, woohoo, car's working, yay. So it's that kind of thing that you want to be thinking about, is take it away from mechanics, start thinking about what really matters to the customer. The second thing is, think about how good companies do this. So Marks and Spencer's, and anyone who's listening, if you haven't heard of Marks and Spencer's in the UK, it's a department store and you're missing out, because they do epic food. And in fact, their food section has been the highest revenue generating section of their business for the last, I think, about 5 years. And if you go onto YouTube, you can find a collection of Marks and Spencer adverts. And they work really well because they do it really simply. They say, this isn't just a potato. This is a Marks and Spencer, organically grown, hand-picked potato that does all of these things. And so in the end, you don't care that it's just a potato. You are happy to pay out the £1.10 or whatever ridiculous cost they're going to charge you for it, because it isn't just a potato. Take that away right at the beginning, and they make it compelling because they tell you other things that you don't think you'd ever care about when it comes to a potato, but that actually their ideal client does. Their ideal client cares that their eggs are free range and that they're not battery farmed. Their ideal client cares that, when you buy a potato from Marks and Spencer's, actually it's not just a commercial entity. It's made by John in Devon, and he's hand grown them, and his family have been in the potato farming business for about 150 years. We care about the things behind the actual product. And so you have to make your audience care. Why are they doing it? What are they actually getting? Because they're not just getting 6 PDFs and a couple of worksheets. They're getting your 20 years of experience and the troubleshooting that you've gone through to make sure that this process is as tight and as streamlined as it possibly can be. Does that make more of a difference?
It definitely does. So what we're effectively doing is looking back at that question. This is why we're doing this. What we're listing there are things that we already know our dream clients really care about.
Yes, 100%. And then we're always backing it up with the evidence. To make a compelling benefit, you can't just list out the benefit. You can't go, well, this is going to make you more money. Because the reality is that you get to points of everything where you go, well, I don't really need more money, or I don't really need to be happier because I'm fine. And that's the thing. Most people's ideal clients are fine with life. So you always have to expand your benefit. My old English teacher used to call this PQE, and some other people's English teachers who were more entertaining than mine clearly called it P, right? And so you always go point, quote, comment, right? Or point, quote, explain, as my English teacher used to say. Now, that can be really well hammered into benefit sections of sales pages. You make the point. It will help you make more money. It will help you write a book. Then you give the comment. Why should they want to make more money? So it will help you make more money so that you can. Great. If you make more money, what do you get to do? Do you get that freedom-based lifestyle? Do you get to go on holiday when you want? If you write the book, what do you do? Do you create a legacy? Do you, have impact on more people? And then you explain, why is that useful to them where they are now? Why is that benefit? Why is that making more money so that they can go on holiday whenever they want useful to them where they are now? Currently, you're stuck in a 9-to-5. You only get 4 weeks holiday a year. If you could go on holiday whenever you wanted because you knew you were financially independent, you would be free. If you wrote a book that impacted the masses, instead of just being one person raising a voice to change the world, you would be leading a movement of people trying to change the world. You see what I mean? So you give them the point, you give them the comment on it, and then you explain why it's useful to them, nobody else. So that when they're reading it, they think, oh, Claire really understands me. She understands what I want, what's interesting to me. And that's what makes them buy. So
this is really, really useful. So if we look at the example of writing a book, for example, which is something I help people with. So one of the huge benefits for someone then would be, instead of you having to be out there in social media every day doing your live streams and the blogs, you can actually help people while you're asleep. You can help thousands times more people, and they'll tell each other about it. So you don't even need to do the marketing.
Exactly. And then you could even take that further and go, so even if you're the world's biggest introvert and you don't want to be on Facebook, you don't want to be in every single flipping group out there, you can still build a lead generation system that works for you.
That's exactly where I was going next, because actually writing a book is perfect for us introverts.
I know. I'm like, loved writing my book. Didn't have to talk to anyone. It was great. Sat there, typed a few words, had a couple of coffees, typed a few more, got it out. But it is that kind of thing, really. And I think this is the bit where sometimes people get a bit stuck when they're writing sales pages. They go, well, I don't know what my ideal client exactly wants. And it's at that point where you have to take it back a step and go, right, who am I talking to with this sales page? Because every single one is different. Every single sales page will be different, because generally your ideal clients will change over sales pages. Some people will only want that part of the process. Some people want the whole thing that you offer. And so you've always got to have that specific person in mind. What are they looking for? What's their key drivers? What is it that they actually want to achieve with this program? What is my outcome for them? And right from there.
And this is great. One of the questions that I use to get that, because I often get stuck on what do people want, because people don't know what they want. I used to be head of market research at Dyson after I left engineering. And that's when I specialized in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I wanted to find out how people's brains worked and how we made the crazy decisions we do. And looking at those subconscious motivators, what is it that's going to get someone excited, was something that was key to our business. Then when I set up my own business, I remember listening to one of your podcast episodes where you talked about how you threw away everything you knew, kind of all the processes and all that sensible stuff we had when we were employed. I threw that away. And it's only really in the last 4 or 5 years I've dragged it back, and I've got a killer question that helps people tell you what it is they're looking for. So you look at the result you want to achieve, you just sit there in your Facebook group and you just have a statement. I can't do that because, and you just ask them to tell you. And they tell you their reasons. And then you can start decoding where they're stuck, what their blocks are, and what's important to them. It's amazing what people will tell you just in answer to a question like that in social media. And it's so helpful to help you to help them.
I really like that. And that's really interesting, because for your sales pages, that will formulate the majority of your benefits.
Okay.
I can't do that because, and you could actually turn that into your benefits section. Make that your benefits. For those of you who've ever thought, I can't because reason 1, that's your point, comment and explain. I can't because reason 2, point, comment, explain.
Well, we're coming up with a fab formula here.
Like, there you go. I'm done. Everyone can write a sales page now with benefits. Nobody needs to worry about features. Features are. But it is true, you know, the benefits are really what sell the product. And it's about, benefits are all about taking people to a place where they can have belief in themselves that they can achieve something. Because benefits are always designed to show people you can trust you. A feature is designed to show people you can trust me. And actually,
okay, that's really key. Actually, I hadn't thought about it that way around before. Yeah, the features are all about trusting the seller.
Yes.
The benefits are trusting themselves. Because one of the biggest blocks people have is that works for everybody else but not me.
Exactly. Everyone is a special snowflake, right? Everyone, and everyone wants to feel like one.
Yeah.
But when we see a sales page that says, yeah, you are, right? You are. But guess what? The benefit is I've created something that, even though you're the special snowflake, will still work for you.
So this is perfect. What you're actually doing is building benefits out of people's objections.
Yes.
Wow.
And because your sales page is the last point of call, at that point, people are clicking over. They don't need a list of reasons why they should trust you to buy it. They need a list of reasons why they should trust themselves to buy it.
Okay.
That's the most important bit.
And then what would you do after the sale? Would you put benefits in to help avoid buyer's remorse as well in the follow-up emails?
So our follow-up emails that go out, we always send something that is really excited that people have joined. So you'll always see like, yay, because I am genuinely really excited when people buy things, like, woohoo, even if it's automated, I'm like, yay, they bought, this is great. Even when I'm asleep, doing that. And then we'll have a couple of reasons why people made a really good decision. Because typically if somebody's made the effort to take the action to buy something from me, I know they've just made the best decision they possibly could when it comes to learning about sales in the business. And so we'll always give them at least 2 points, generally 3. So the first point will always be, firstly, we're really glad you're here. You know, really glad that you've bought, really excited about your journey. And if you have any problems, this is how you get in touch with us. The second point is always, now that you are here, think about your goals. What do you actually want to achieve? Because once you put somebody into that mindset of, great, okay, let's plan, let's get into it, instead of thinking, oh crap, I just spent a ton of money, oh my God, they're thinking, oh great, this is a solid investment. What do I actually want from it? What are my intentions moving forward? What is it that I'm determined to hit? And then the third thing is always a reiteration. You've made a good decision. We're really excited. We have your back. And if you need anything, here's how you get in touch with us. Here's where to look out for other information. And what it does, it just puts people in a future mood. So that when they're looking at it, they don't necessarily need to have all of the benefits that are on the sales page again. It's like they need to be taken into that action driven zone. Because what a lot of courses do, if you notice, if you buy courses, you get a thank you email sometimes, you know, and it's most courses you get a receipt and then you'll get an email. It's like, great, you've joined the course, here's your logins. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool. But before I log into anything, before I actually do anything, I need to know what I want from that. What was my purpose of joining? Because after I've just hit buy on the sales page and I'm thinking about the money I just spent, I need to remind myself, but why did I buy it? What did I want? What was the dream that I had in my head that I thought this course or this program or this product could help me with? Yeah.
That's brilliant. And so what you're doing there is you've had all the benefits on the sales page, but you're getting them to think about their own benefits behind it as they're doing that transition to get used to, well, to start using whatever it is that they've bought.
Yeah, exactly. And we also get people to hit reply and tell us what they, what their intentions are, what their goals are, because it does two things. One, it connects people with me. And so, when somebody sends back a goal and they say, this is what I really want to do, we know that somebody's genuinely invested and interested in making it happen. But also it gives us the ability to troubleshoot early. So if somebody buys and they set a huge goal and we go, okay, you want to make 100 grand, but you've never had a sale before, we can then also manage expectations and say, look, we don't want you to set yourself up to fail. So this would be our recommendation. We want you to be as successful as you can. We don't want to also put you at risk of a heart attack because you're so stressed over trying to hit this one goal. So here's how we can dial it back, and here's how we can better support you. And that's really useful for your audience. It's useful for them to know that even if you are buying something that's automated, if they reply, they're going to hear from you and that you are going to genuinely be invested and care about what they're doing.
I think that's so important, because I don't know about you, but I always find it totally heartbreaking if I reply to an email like that and I find out it was actually from a no reply email address. It makes you feel really, really loved.
It's really funny. It's one of the things. So there's a company that I order from all the time that Sam and I are obsessed with. It's called The Sauce Shop. And if anyone likes weird and wonderful sauces, you should go and check them out because they're absolutely amazing. But every time you order from them, they send you this great email that says, I just wanted to say thank you because we're a small business and we're really grateful for your order. And it's the same every time. And I've been ordering them from them a lot. So actually, I now always get, we're really grateful that you placed another order. And that really tickled me because I was like, oh, I know it's automated, but they've noticed that I've ordered more than once. And that's really smart. You don't have to do that much to really make customers feel like they made the best buying decision. But things like that, they're so small, they're really simple, but they make people feel really good. And when you've gone to all the trouble to get decent benefits on your sales page, when you've gone to all the trouble to market something, you might as well retain all of your customers by providing a really good customer care process than lose them to refunds because they thought, oh God, did I make the wrong decision? Oh, I want a refund, snap decision making and panic time.
They can also become accidentally really destructive. If you're running a program that's got a group element, if they're sitting there drowning in buyer's remorse, they can be the ones that nothing works for, or that just don't get the tech and everything else, and it drags everybody down. So that sounds like a brilliant way to preempt that.
Yeah. It really helps. I mean, it's one of those things where I've spoken to people recently for the 6-Figure Success series coming up later this month, and some of them have said, oh, we're really glad if we get like a refund request rate below 3%. And I'm like, that's quite a lot. Like that's an awful lot because I don't have that. And it's because we set those expectations early. We don't provide refunds. We give you every opportunity at every point of sales conversation to have a chat with us, to ask questions, to make sure that you're the right fit. And we promise that we're going to answer honestly and transparently. But once you make that decision is yours. Secondly, we make it a positive buying experience. You give the benefits, you tell people about what is possible. But like I say, if they hit reply, they tell us our goals and they're not really reality, we let people know. Those aren't going to be achievable. It's going to be difficult. We do it based off metrics, and things like that. And then you give them a good care process. What happens when they purchase? What makes them feel good? What keeps them, even if they're not a straight off the bat winner, some course, and I've been on courses where somebody has come straight off the bat and they're just naturally really good at it and they take the information and they fly and you're like, oh, I hate you. And you're a little bit slower. It takes you to like week 6 or something to actually start seeing results. But we keep people going. We have a care process. If you feel like you're failing, don't worry, reach out, tell us where you are. How can we support you? Trying to make sure that everybody gets through. And that's what you want. Don't leave anyone behind.
Okay. So I want to pick your brain again
Please do.
On this question. There's something that you helped me with a couple of weeks ago in one of your live Q&As in the Dotties. So sometimes I can get benefits and they're too woolly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a program I launched recently about how to help your children deal with their inner critic and negative self-talk. And for me, a huge benefit was your child can grow up happy and confident and feel fulfilled and reach their potential. And you came straight in there and said, and I was like, oh, okay, but what you helped me find was so much better. Can you help me to learn the process that you used to take that benefit and make it actually really exciting?
So I think for people, and again, this is something where as business owners, we always think in terms of the future. So I always think 6 months ahead. I'm like, great, yeah, my life in 6 months' time, my life in 12 months' time. Unfortunately, the majority of buyers think in the here and now. This is my issue now. My kid is being bullied now.
Okay.
They know that they want their child to grow up and be happy and fulfilled, but they can't see it past the glaring problem that's staring them in the face day to day. And so when we're looking at creating a benefit that attracts people in the here and now, it's something that's got to be relevant to them right now. And so I find that when we go off into the future too far, I was talking to someone weirdly, I had a dotty call with somebody today, and we were talking about the phrase dream life.
Okay.
And I was like, you can sell me on my dream life as many times as you want. You can say it as many times as you like. But I don't know what my dream life looks like as a buyer. So I can't say that I'm going to buy it because I'm just like, well, I don't know what my dream life is. So clearly I can't have this, right? Or, people used to say to me all the time, you can have it all. And I would just laugh and be like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. And think to myself, you mug, because that's not true. Because I was looking at my life and thinking, well, in the present, I can't. So if you can't make it tangible for me, if you can't say, look, you can have your dream life, that might look like this, or you might choose to have that, or define it for me in some way, or provide some kind of framework, I can't imagine it. And so a lot of the times when we're trying to give our buyers or our prospective buyers a future statement, what we're actually giving them is something that is completely intangible to the now. And if we don't give them a definition or a framework, we can't tell them what that's going to look like. And so they can't imagine it and they can't suspend their disbelief.
Okay.
That's what we need to do. We need to help them. It's like a film. I go and watch Harry Potter and I'm like, great, wizards are real when I come out the cinema. We've all been there. Great. I'm going to get a wand. I'm going to go to Harry Potter World. I'm going to do the thing. But for that 2 hours, I can suspend my disbelief because they provide a framework. They're not taking me out of where I am and putting me somewhere completely ridiculous. They're pushing the realms of possibility, sure, but I can see it because they're giving me this framework. Okay, if you are a child who is living in a cupboard under the stairs, you too could wake up to a letter from a giant that tells you you're going to magical school. Now, I don't think that's too far. It's not too big a push.
I know we've all wished for it, yeah.
And it is that kind of thing. So with your audience, again, it's looking at what's relevant to them right now. And a lot of that does come down to your market research. What are they struggling with? What is going on with them? And if you've got a Facebook group, you've got like podcasts, emails, all that kind of stuff, you'll hear from them regularly. My child is getting bullied. Most parents, especially now with the recent kind of violence, crimes and all that kind of thing, they're like, I don't want my child to grow up and be stabbed. I don't want my child to be suicidal. I don't want my child to feel like if they fail one exam, then that's it, life's over. And that's where you've got to catch people, is give them that framework. If you are worried about your child doing this, this is why you need the solution. This is how it's going to help them. Does that make sense?
It does, totally. And actually it's going back to what I'm about to say the word should, what I should have known. The word should. No, it goes back to, from the NLP world, it's about rapport, it's pacing and leading. Yes. You're not standing on the other side of the ravine where the grass is really green saying, hey, it's great over here, I can show you how to jump. Exactly. You actually need to help them build the bridge during that sales process.
Exactly. And that's the whole point, because again, it comes back to that idea of belief in themselves. Can they do it? If they read the book, can they really make sure that their child grows up to be a happy, well-rounded, fulfilled individual? Yeah, they probably could. But at the moment, all they're seeing are the stepping stones, which are Yeah, but my kid's being bullied. Yeah, but my kid's got exams. Yeah, but my kid's a nightmare teenager. Da, da, da. And that's stopping them.
I've got one of those.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, don't have children, but I have a very angsty dog, and I feel for parents everywhere.
So for you then, the equivalent example would be if you had a dog that you say was angsty, if it jumped up at everybody, if it barked at every dog on the street, and somebody was saying, in just 60 seconds, I can help your dog be calm and docile and never pull on the lead again, yeah?
I'd probably hit them in the face. Like, look, come here, you. But it's that kind of thing. You've got to make it possible. And more importantly, that you've got to make it probable. Okay. How can you, because law of averages says, if somebody says to me, Jess, there is an 80% chance if you do this, you'll be a millionaire. I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. If somebody says to me, there is a 10% chance, I might do it. But the reality is I probably won't.
And I think what you're saying there is so important. If at the point where they make that decision, they believe it's possible, then they will view the entire experience afterwards through that filter. It will actually program the neuroscience in their brain to see more reasons why it's possible.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You're setting them up to succeed rather than setting them up to fail. Because what you're doing is you're saying, look, all of the things that you believe you can do are here and are covered. All the things that you don't believe you can do, we can overcome together.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So if you could give one final tip to those of us that are struggling with those benefits, what would it be out of your experience? Because you must have read so many thousands of sales pages since you've been doing that. What do you wish we could all know before we finish this episode?
That sales pages aren't important. Like, that's, for me, sales pages are fine. Ultimately, if somebody is going to buy something, they have bought into it a hell of a lot earlier than that page. So it doesn't matter if your sales page looks like crap. It doesn't matter if you've managed to, get that fancy countdown timer on there, or actually if you even have a sales page. I sell plenty of stuff still off of a PayPal link. All of the rest of your marketing needs to worry about benefits. It needs to actually, solve the problem that your audience is asking for help with. And if you can do that, then it really doesn't matter about what the actual page looks like, how you navigate it, any of those kinds of things, even if it works. I mean, obviously you want the checkout bit to work, but the rest of it, negotiable. That's what I want people to remember. The sales page does not do the selling. The work you do before that, the marketing you do before that, the discussions you have before that, that's what sells. The page is just the final decision maker for most people, or the final point of entry. And that's it.
Do you know, that takes off so much pressure.
You look so relieved. Your face is like, oh my God.
Well, that was at least 2 hours in the spa. But seriously, I mean, I've been doing this since 2001. I wrote my first sales page, and I'm really glad that that bit of the internet's now disappeared. But sometimes I've not launched because I've been so paranoid about getting the sales page right. And I know that I'm not alone in that. No. We really wind ourselves up about this, but actually, as you say, the number of times I've invested in myself, particularly high ticket stuff, my decision was made long before I went to the sales page. That's just the bit my logical mind needed.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because that's how we've been trained. Society trains you to buy something, you need a sales page. And when we come into, this is the funny thing, I can go and do an online supermarket shop, and theoretically every page is a sales page. At no point when I buy my courgettes do they give me every single feature and benefit of eating a courgette or any kind of thing. They're just like, this is a courgette, it's 40 pence, how many do you want? And that's it. And I buy them. I'm like, cool, great. When we come into the online entrepreneur space, suddenly it's like, oh my God, you have to have a long form sales page. It has to have all of these things. Otherwise, people will not buy. And to a certain degree, yeah, that can be true. If you've trained your audience to do that, of course they're going to buy like that, because that's what they expect. If you turn around and you go, yeah, do you know what? Actually, I'm not going to do a sales page because I don't believe there's a point. Here's all the marketing behind it. Here are all the features. Here are all the benefits. Here's why you specifically should do it. They'll buy without one.
Fantastic.
There you go. So if there are any other passionate world changers here who are looking to write their book or do anything miraculous, where can they find you?
So I hang out at clarejosa.com. That's CLAREJOSA.com. And if it's writing your world-changing book you're into, you can find me at authormastermind.com.
Amazing. Well, it's been so much fun. Seriously, thank you for coming on.
Jess.
And thank you for having such a wicked question. If you are somebody who is struggling with any kind of mindset gremlins, imposter syndrome, or you're wanting to write your world-changing book, make sure you head over to clarejosa.com and get in touch with Clare, because as you can tell, she is fabulous. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday for another episode.